All right, so I just got back from watching the last DCEU movie, a sentence that I never thought I would say this soon, but here we are. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, I believe it is called. I can't remember if it's Lost or Last, but it doesn't really matter. Aquaman 2. It's taken 5 years for this movie to come out. It's been plagued by production issues. Obviously, COVID was one of them, but they did a lot of reshoots for this movie, and frankly, it shows. I've seen other people talk about this aspect of the movie already, but I feel like I should say it as well. The acting in this movie is pretty stiff all around for the most part. It feels like people are reading off of cue cards a lot of the time, especially for exposition scenes. And I think that usually is a big tell that this was a reshoot and they were only given the script maybe, an hour before or whatever. But that's just me speculating here. This whole movie just feels like it was made because Aquaman 1 made $1 billion, and so they got to make another one, and they didn't really know what to do with it, and then they wrote a story, and then COVID happened, and then all the Amber Heard, Johnny Depp drama happened, and then next thing you know, nobody cares about this movie because they're rebooting it now with James Gunn, and so what do? Well, you got to put it out because you made it. But no one really seems to care, and this movie doesn't really matter, which is unfortunate because I think movies, it doesn't really matter if there's going to be a sequel or if it's going to be part of a universe. You can still have a good standalone movie. I mean, look at Logan, for example. That's a great movie that took place in a X-Men universe that was dying cinematically. It was, no one really cared about X-Men movies anymore, and Logan was awesome, and Logan didn't save that universe. It's still, they sold 20th Century Fox to Disney now, and that's also not the last time I'm going to mention Logan here, because the biggest problem with this movie is that it tries to do too many things at once, and it would have been a lot better if it was personal. The more personal this movie could have been, the better. Because at its heart, it is a personal story. It's a story about two brothers who are distant, trying to connect, and about a man who wants revenge for one of these brothers killing his dad, and he wants revenge for, a very raw, personal reason. But the movie decides to be about so much other stuff and so much other lore and backstories, and they have to throw in a, save the planet message in there, which is fine, but they do it so lazily and so obviously that I just rolled my eyes whenever I saw it. And the personal aspect is it's not lost, but it could have been so much more. And Logan is a great example of a superhero movie that is personal, where the stakes don't have to be the end of the world all the time, right? That's the end of the world is not the threat in Logan. The threat is protecting this little girl. And that's all you need to get people invested in this characters. And they could have done something similar here, but they didn't. And even Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is bigger movie than Logan, still had very personal stakes, right? Saving Rocket. And you can branch off from there, but the movie never forgets that that's the focus. That's what we're doing here. And this movie just doesn't have any focus. It's just all over the place. There are a couple funny jokes. Jason Momoa is trying his best. He's not as good in this movie as he was in the first one, but you could tell that he's really trying. Amber Heard is in this movie, although not very much at all, and when she is, she's not very good. She's very flat, but that's not really a dig on her as much as it is just everybody in this movie is kind of flat, except for Jason Momoa, who even he's worse than he was. And even like Black Manta just has no personality whatsoever, and which is a real shame because they really built him up in the first movie to be like, man, this guy really hates Aquaman, and it's just nothing. It's not a spoiler really. He's taken over by a black trident, and so half of his revenge quest isn't really him. It's this entity controlling him. It's like he's not really doing it. He's doing it because he wants to, but also because he's serving a master. It's like, just let Black Manta do it. Why does he have to be controlled by something else? It's too convoluted for its own good. So I'm not going to say it's a good thing this universe is over, because we did have some good stuff and some good ideas here in the DCEU, I should say. But I am excited to see what James Gunn can do. I hope we keep our expectations in check, but considering his track record, I think we might be in for something special. I think DC movies are about to be really good, and if Marvel doesn't figure everything out soon, then DC movies could become better than Marvel movies in the future, which is something that hasn't happened in a while. So we'll see if the balance of power will shift in the movie scene soon. It might not. They might both be bad, or they might both be great. Who knows? But yeah, it goes without saying, you don't need to watch this movie in theaters. It's kind of a nothing movie. There's not really anything to remember about it. And I would definitely go watch Wonka instead. That movie is a much better time. So yeah.